Yeah.
Oh,
But it's
I'm
nice.
sorry. I just can't believe you're here. I haven't seen you. So,
I know it's been a
Little
while.
surprise reunion.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is a very big surprise. Good surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all of you. Dia, I saw you just the other day though. Sorry. Saw you already. Hi, Frankie. Hi, Priam. Hi, Mari. The Mari Yvonne just showed me a picture of you from the Mae Jemison Neil deGrasse
Oh
Tyson
no.
lab. A
I can
bunch of
only
you. Dia, were you
imagine
there during
what
the space
Yvonne.
year?
No, no, I
Yeah.
joined like the IMPay year.
Okay, that was like I think that was
Oh, I
like
remember
a
that
year
year. Yeah.
after. I
Yeah,
can
no, I can
send it to
only
you, Mari,
imagine what
unless you want
Yvonne
to
must
see
have
this
online.
photo that I found from a
Oh, oh.
hold on, we did so
I'm,
it was a space year and we did like the space suit fashion show.
you know
And
what's
it was
funny is that I actually do remember this photo.
this
My
one.
dad, yeah, that would be the
Oh, it's
one.
blurry. Whoa, my ring light. Oh, you can't see it.
My,
Here. There
oh
you are.
yeah, I looked so fabulous.
Yes.
My dad loves that photo. That was a really cool project.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our alumni panel. And this is a special treat because it's our first alumni panel featuring college students who graduated from Synapse. And we have a wonderful set of Synapse grads here with us tonight. And it was even fun just, talking with them right before this call. And so let's get right to it. They're going to introduce themselves and share where they are, what year they're in college, what they're studying, and where they went to high school. And then, of course, we tested all of them too, like which year they graduated Synapse, which was pretty far back. Um, so with that, let's do this. I'm gonna spotlight. Oh, they don't know who's going first. You first, Mari.
Okay, hello. My name is Mari. I graduated in 2021, so right now I am a freshman studying acting at NYU. Is that all that I had to say, Stephanie? I forgot.
Ooh, yeah. And where did you go to high school? Because
Oh
that's a thing
yes,
too.
right. I went to the Nueva School in San Mateo.
Thanks, Mari. All right, Dia, you're joining the spotlight.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I graduated from Synapse in 2020. So I'm a sophomore right now. I go to Berkeley and I'm a pre-med major. And I went to Woodside High School, so not so far from Synapse.
Thanks, Dia. All righty, Frankie.
My name is Frankie. I graduated from Synapse in 2018, I think. And I'm at Princeton. I'm a senior. I'm studying comparative literature. I went to Lick Wilmerding, a high school in San Francisco.
Thanks, Frankie. And hi, Priam.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Priam. I also graduated Synapse in 2018 with Frankie. I went to Choate Rosemary Hall High School in Wallingford, Connecticut. And now I'm at the University of Michigan, where I'm a senior as well, and I'm studying electrical engineering.
Thanks, Priam. All right, here. I guess I can join you all too. So, I told them, I warned them, what's a Synapse event without an EQ check-in? So, ready? Here's your EQ check-in, friends, and then we'll get into some questions. Let's see. The EQ check-in is, what college class are you feeling like right now? What are you feeling like? How are you feeling?
I can begin if no one else wants to.
Yeah, good for Frankie.
Yeah. I'm in a class called Reading Like a Writer right now with the great fiction writer Yi Yun Lee, and the whole thing is about how reflecting and focusing on little moments in books, but in life is kind of the purpose, can be like a way of getting back to yourself. And so reflecting on Synapse a little bit, that is very much how I'm feeling.
Thanks, Frankie.
I can go next.
Oh,
Oh, do
go
you
for
want to
it.
go, Mari?
No, please.
Okay. I was also gonna say I'm feeling like a writing class. It's like the height of club applications right now at Berkeley, so I've just been writing essays and doing interviews, so it's been fun.
Okay, I've been in the studio all day today for my acting major. And so I have been doing a lot of grounding work and exercises. But I would say that right now I'm definitely feeling like my voice and speech class, not just because like I'm talking right now and we're all doing this panel, but because we do a lot of breath work and things. And so I'm feeling very like centered.
That's tough to follow up. All those are great. I think I'm taking a class right now that is about Greek American heritage. I'm a modern Greek studies minor. So I'm taking it, and it's kind of about reflecting on yourself and your identity as an immigrant, as a kind of hyphenated American. So it's a lot about reflecting. It's second semester senior year too, so I think it's just kind of, the vibe in the air right now. It's just being in the moment and reflecting, and yeah.
Oh, thanks all of you. Look, you're still so great at EQ check-ins after not being at Synapse for a while. Um, well, let's just open it up. I should say for everyone who's here with us tonight, one, thank you for being here. And two, if you have any questions for our Synapse alumni panelists, feel free to pop them into chat. And as it comes up in conversation, we'll we might grab some from the chat. So feel free to add them in and let's just get started. Can I just open it up with just how are you all doing right now in college? You're in different points, you're in different places, just that bigger question, and then we can get into say wherever it leads us tonight. So, and anybody can start, anybody can jump in, but how are you all doing in college? How's it going?
I can go. Yeah. It's been good. It's good. I'm taking a little bit less in terms of course load this semester. Um, Partially because I had a busy fall, but mostly because I also wanted to kind of enjoy the winter. It's unfortunately cold, as most of you know. I think most three of us are in the Midwest to the east, so kind of staying inside. But it's been good. I'm finishing up mostly my minor right now, so it's kind of nice to have some classes on Central Campus and read more books than textbooks. So it's been nice. Yeah.
Yeah, as another second semester senior, I think I have a relatively light course load right now. Um, I'm staying very busy because I have a senior thesis that I have to do, and that's kind of taking up my time, along with some job applications. But I'm, as a second semester senior, I feel like I'm getting to take a step back more often than I have gotten to other times, so I'm pretty happy.
Frankie, what's your thesis on?
It's on like self-expression in like different. I'm gonna explain it poorly. Um, it's on like art and writing that people make while in immigration detention over time, and in like forms of incarceration that are similar to immigration detention. So I'm looking at like the historical work that was done on Angel Island, and then also working with a lot of people who are currently in detention who like want to share what they're doing, and are sending me their stuff by mail. And so it's gonna try and be like a historical look at it.
Wow, thanks, Frankie. It sounds like really impactful work as well once you have it all finished. And I'm sure impactful for you right now.
Yeah, it's impacting me by making me very tired. We'll
Yeah,
hope that it's
direct
impactful in
impact.
another way.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of have an opposite experience to the two second semester seniors. As a second semester freshman, it's a lot settling in for sure. But honestly, I'm really having a blast. Like being out here, NYU is definitely the place that I wanted to be. And it is, as I think Priam said right now, it's very cold. So it's, dealing with going outside and getting to class and stuff. I have a bit of a commute to my studio. It's down on Wall Street, so I have to take the subway every day, which is it's freezing, but I'm busy, but like good busy. So I think that, it can be a little bit difficult to transition into college, but it's all good things. and having a lot of new experiences that are helping me grow as a person. I certainly think that I've grown a lot more as a person in the past 6 months, like the most in the shortest amount of time that I think I have in my entire life. And that's really awesome.
Yeah, I guess I've got kind of the middle ground on this one. So I think I kind of agree with Mari. There's definitely a lot more, I guess, load rather than the second semester seniors, but I definitely feel like I'm kind of at a more settled in point right now. So freshman year was definitely very different, living in the dorms and everything. But this year it's like I'm in an apartment, I've got a roommate that I really like. So having all this extra stuff that I'm taking on feels like it's going in a positive direction. So I'm happy where it's at right now.
Thanks, everyone. Well, Mari, you spoke a bit about the transition and Dia a little bit too. Frankie and Priam, I mean, or if anybody can jump in, like that transition from high school to college. It's like Mari spoke about it a bit. I'm curious, like, how did it go? I mean, you're also in very different places, studying very different things. Like, we've got a lot of diversity here, but I'm curious, how was that? Just getting to college, becoming a college student.
I can go first if nobody else wants to. I think I probably have a really different kind of perspective than you guys since you're a lot further away, but I'm pretty close by. I'm only like an hour from home. So I think for me, that was definitely the right choice. Like I enjoy coming home. My sister's in fourth grade and my other sister's a junior in high school. So it's been really nice for me to come back on the weekends. So it was definitely something that I utilized a lot during my freshman year. Having that support close by was really nice. I think this year I've kind of transitioned to spending more time at school and trying to build stronger relationships here rather than always going back home. So it's been good to kind of ease into it. And I think, I mean, the biggest thing for me was the food because the Berkeley food is terrible. So be prepared for that. But other than that, I think it was really nice to get like a lot more independence, have a new community. There's a lot of like diversity at Berkeley that I didn't have at my high school. So that's been really cool to experience and make a lot of new connections. So I think like it was a good transition, but like for me, I was just glad that when I looked at schools, I knew that I wasn't going to be the type of person to go like 4,000 miles away. So Synapse definitely like helped me know myself and know what was right for me.
I can I can follow that up. Um, my experience is definitely quite different. Obviously I went to school in Connecticut for 4 years, so that in itself is kind of I, it had its advantages when it came to getting into college and being a freshman. I had been in dorms for 4 years, so kind of that, way of life was a little bit less of an adjustment for me. Um, I'd say a bigger adjustment. Oh, and you get really good at like calling your parents and, kind of those things like, call your parents. They're good. They love you. Um, um, I think the biggest thing for me was Michigan is such a big school. I love it, but that's really, really daunting when you first get here. And I remember being in the hotel room before I moved into my dorm, like, oh, like what if this? What if that? Like, I think the best advice I got was to just kind of take this as a blank slate and forget everything. And for the first 2 weeks, just to be like as social of a human being as you possibly could. And I think that really helped me find good friends that I will have for the rest of my life, but also kind of get to know and build the judgment of who I wanted to be friends with, who I didn't want, what organizations I wanted to be a part of, just kind of trying everything and having that um, kind of freedom, kind of just let yourself go. So I think that was the key for me. But the transition was good.
I can say I feel like I have a slightly similar experience in terms of I had never like lived or worked or studied anywhere further than an hour from my house, and so to suddenly get shuttled off to New Jersey was like a real shock. Um, and I think it definitely forces you to build like a self-reliance and like also some self-confidence, which is what's positive. But I also found it, I think, very, very difficult. It's like it's for most people a bigger workload than school. For the first 2 weeks, you don't remember the names of anyone who you're meeting. It was my experience. And so you're just constantly having to re-ask people their names. Um, but I think the transition is hard, but it's good that it is hard. Um,
Thanks, everyone. Mari, did you want to add anything more about your transition? Are you still transitioning, maybe?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think that there's a lot of things that I've settled in with, but every now and again something will pop up and I'll realize, oh, I'm still definitely not used to this. I think that the first year is a huge learning curve, at least in my experience so far. I mean, we've barely started second semester, right? So who am I to say, really? But the first semester was definitely a learning curve, especially being in New York City, which the thing about NYU that I very much enjoy, but it is also sometimes daunting or difficult, is that you're kind of on your own. The dorms are spread out around the city, so you're basically living in the city and also a college student, and they don't really hold your hand with things. So you kind of end up figuring it out on your own as you go. And like Frankie said with Welcome Week, the first 2 weeks, everybody's meeting each other. I think I got so many people's Instagrams that I genuinely see their stuff pop up on my feed sometimes, and I have no idea who that person is. Like, you will do more social activities than you think is humanly possible in the first 2 weeks. And for the eventuality that you are in college and in Welcome Week, go to sleep because it's really easy not to sleep for the first 2 weeks. And if you don't sleep, you will burn out so bad because that is what I did. So, like, take care of yourself. And even though you're being social and making new connections in the first semester of college, it's really important to take care of yourself as well. Um, because otherwise you can get overwhelmed very easily if you're not making sure that, you're pacing yourself and doing okay as well. I guess that's been my experience.
Yeah, so a lot of you have been talking about, meeting new people, a lot of social pieces to college, which it is. I'm curious. So this might be a leading question, but answer it how you wish. Synapse, very relational place, right? I know you all, the four of you, had really wonderful relationships. I mean, even from the outset, like with your teachers and everything. And you all come back to visit too. So I'm curious, are there any ties you can make between like the relationships you had at Synapse and how you got to know each other or the adults or the peers with that college experience? Are there any parallels or connections? I know it's also been a while, but curious.
I can start. Oh, actually, mine is going to be about you, Priyam. So, um, I'll start by saying, I mean, I think a lot of the skills that you learn from Synapse are immediately transferable. I would also say Synapse is good because it's a place that always kind of forces you into some kind of activity. And both in high school and college, I think activities are still the easiest way to meet people. So, like the example for this is Priyam and I knew each other, but we became good friends because we made a band together at Synapse. Um, and I no longer play music. I will not meet anyone through that. But through the activities that I found in college, I think I have made my closest friends. And I'm very grateful that early on I tried to put myself in those spaces.
Yeah, I can kind of go off of that. I guess both from my personal experience and then from a Synapse experience. From my personal experience, like I still talk a lot with Frankie. I still talk a lot with other alumni um of Synapse. And having that base of friends that I've been able to come back home to and catch up like once a year as if nothing has happened and there's no time has passed. It's such a good kind of safety net, I think, and it was something that I really felt made me feel more comfortable going into college. Because I knew that I could always text them, or I could always call them, and maybe they won't pick up every time. Frankie doesn't pick up every time, but he's always there for me. And I know that he will be. And then I guess on the Synapse thing, like I think the biggest thing is like one of the core competencies, empathy and optimism. There's a lot of pessimism in the world, and being that source of light for somebody or somebody that somebody else feels safe approaching and talking to, I think goes a long way in ways that you probably won't realize, but somebody else might really appreciate. So I think kind of being an approachable person is something um, that has taken me pretty far.
I guess, oh, do you want to go, Mari? Okay. Sorry, we keep doing it at the same time. I guess just to piggyback off that, I'm definitely in agreement with everything you guys both said. Not just the like friendships that I had at Synapse, but even just coming back to like the support that I had from my teachers is a big thing for me. I had like really good relationships with a lot of my teachers, my advisors, and I had teachers who like reached out to me via email during my first semester and were like, "Hey, you're starting college. Like, let me know if you need anything. I hope it's going well." And just knowing that I had that support behind me, like it just gave me a lot more confidence and it reminded me like it's okay. Like I've got people who have my back. And then I think for me, the two kind of core things from Synapse that I used a lot in my first semester were probably advocacy for sure, and risk. So I guess just what Priya was saying, like being approachable, most people are scared to be the first one to make a friend or talk to somebody. So just being the person to knock on somebody's door and say like, "Hey, do you want to get dinner together?" It like that's how I made like some of my best friends, and that's how I met my roommate. Like we met in a class, and I was like, "Hey, like let's go get boba after class." And now we live together. Like she's one of my best friends. It's awesome. So that's a big one. And then advocacy. I knew I wanted to build those same connections with my professors that I had at Synapse. Obviously, Berkeley is like giant compared to Synapse. So definitely just being able to say, I'm just going to go to office hours. I'm going to follow up after class if I have questions. Like that's something that'll take you really far.
Kind of piggyback onto that and say one of the biggest things must certainly be risk because, like, honestly, with my experience of first semester, everybody is a little bit scared to be there. Everyone has those what ifs running through their head. What if I don't make friends? What if I get too overwhelmed? What if I'm not able to, etc. But something about Synapse is that it always encourages you to try new things, to try different things, to put yourself out there. Just with the variety of classes that we took and the variety of activities that we did, um, Synapse was always kind of pushing us to go a little bit outside of our comfort zones, even the scale of projects, for instance. Um, and so coming to college, that's super useful because, you're still going to be scared and a little nervous, but if you are willing to put yourself out there and if you are willing to take that risk, then you're much more likely to make those long lasting connections. So I guess that's the first big thing. And then the second to me would be the emphasis that Synapse places on knowing yourself. I think that there's a lot of just early work that we did in being able to recognize your own emotions and sit with them and address them, breathe through them, that comes in incredibly handy in high school and college. That skill of being able to recognize and address how you are feeling, and that awareness is also going to help you make connections because when you are aware of yourself and your emotions, you can usually be a better person to the outside world. And so people are going to, you know, if you treat people well, then they will want to be friends with you and want to, be with you. So that's super crucial.
Sorry, I just want to add on to that really quick. Not just like knowing your emotions, which I think like you said that really beautifully, but I think also a big one for me was just knowing myself and like being confident in who I was. Because I think, at least for me, there's a lot of pressure to like join certain organizations or become friends with certain people, or especially during Welcome Week, there's a lot of pressure to go out to bars or go out to clubs. And so just knowing your values, like if that's something you want to do, great. But like for me, it just wasn't. So I had to stay grounded in what I knew I wanted and the kind of people I wanted to associate with.
I'm curious. So you all were talking a lot. Thank you for talking so wonderfully about Synapse too. I'm so thinking back, I'm wondering if is there anything that we emphasized at Synapse that at the time you're like, that didn't make sense, or that's not important, but like you realize looking back, maybe it does now, or it clicked later. I'm curious if there's any of that. Is there anything we did where like that didn't make sense, or why did we do that? And then later, maybe it did.
Okay, I have a very easy answer for this. And I think it's just because you're in eighth grade and you're what, 14?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just don't like realize the gravity of it. Okay, mine is consequential thinking. Um, at the time you're very young, you learn by mistakes. That's how it is. But in the professional and the social settings, super, super important. And you'd be very surprised how some people do not think things through. Um, you know, I do a lot of projects with, in my engineering degree, and some people will just do stuff and not think through any of the results, or they'll, completely smoke a chip that I had to buy and then I'm now going to wait like, 2 weeks for, and that's, a huge problem. So, and then, I guess just in the social setting, you got to think before you speak or what you think before you do. That's just a big thing, and it's something that you'll carry throughout life.
Thanks, Priya.
I can go next. I distinctly remember. I th is empathy is still one of the core values. Yeah, I know they
One of the
changed.
EQ competencies, yeah.
Okay. Um, well, I remember in eighth grade again because you're 14. It's like ugh, empathy. Ugh, that's such a stupid word. And distinctly remember getting to high school and feeling like everyone else did not have empathy and that they were doing better socially than I was because of that. Because I think you find high school to be a rather, I mean, of course, it depends on the high school, but the stereotype is it as an unempathetic place. And it is helpful to remember during that time that, like, high school is high school. I think empathy is one of those skills that serves you for the rest of your life. And I've now found it to be central to everything that I do. And I, I hope that Synapse eighth graders going into high school are not discouraged by occasional rude people. You will do better than them because you're empathetic. It's the long run.
Thanks, Frankie. Sounds like you're doing also a lot of empathy work right now, too. Yeah.
I've honestly just been waiting for you to go
I
do
was waiting for you to go, so I'll let you have it.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. Okay, I think this is maybe not something that I thought was like stupid at Synapse, but there was the emphasis that was placed on group work could sometimes be frustrating because you get placed in groups with people that you either did not want to work with or that did not want to do the work. And that was frustrating. But since then, like that's going to be life. You're going to be on a team at your job. You need to work with people that you don't like or who maybe don't want to do the work. And a part of all of these group projects is really setting this foundation of like, hey, you might not like them, but you're going to have to learn to work together. And that teamwork and collaboration is just so essential to set you up for literally the rest of your life. So no matter how frustrating that can be, I've definitely learned to look back on it as like each of those frustrating group projects was a learning experience. And as we did more of them at Synapse, we got better at managing them and finding new ways to manage them. And then in high school, when a group project would come about, and it would be, easy peasy. Oh, I'm getting assigned to this person who obviously does not want to do anything in this project. I know how to talk to them or assign the work to make sure that happens, or alternatively, talk to the teacher and say, hey, this is what's going on. And, this is what we've been doing to fix it. But can you help us out? Right. Learning to advocate for yourself. Advocacy came up earlier, and that is so huge. So I think that that's the main thing that I can think of that I definitely did not understand back then. And I understand it a lot better now.
I think for me, it was a lot of like the small things. Like, I just have a very distinct memory of sending John like an email about my writer's workshop project and him like sitting across the room from me. And he was like, make sure you write me like a formal email. Like, I don't want to see anything. Like, make sure you use good punctuation, like, write it out the way I taught you. And I just remember thinking, like, you're sitting right there. Like, you know me so well. Like, why do I need to write you an email? And like now that's a skill I use constantly. Like I have friends who don't know how to like email their professors and they'll ask me for help. And I think just being able to communicate with people, communicate with adults effectively has been something that served me definitely in high school, when reaching out for like internship opportunities, volunteering opportunities. Being able to present yourself in a professional manner is super important. So that's a skill that I've definitely used. And I think the second one, this one was definitely something I did not enjoy at Synapse, was the PEP goals. I just remember every year being like, oh my God, not again. But
We still do them.
and my sister complains about them now, and I have to be like, no, it's actually really useful. But I remember feeling the same way. But being able to set those goals for myself, I remember just coming into high school and dreading like doing my assignments and struggling to connect with my teachers. And I set those goals for myself each semester on what I wanted to improve. And over those 4 years, I got so much better at skills that I just knew I wanted to improve it. And now in college, I'm using them constantly. So I think just the like culture of constantly bettering yourself and wanting to strengthen yourself has been really useful.
Thanks, Dia. And you've got an interesting lens because you've also got like current Synapse happening too. And in case people who are here don't know, Dia also works for us too. And so first alum who works at Synapse. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Only like the last few months, but it's been super fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of adults, Dia, you mentioned adults. So here's a question for you all. Thinking about the adults in your lives. You talked a lot about Synapse. So I talked a bit about Synapse teachers. Okay, your parents. So is there anything you wish your parents had worried less about when you were younger and maybe when you were at Synapse? Is there anything now that you're all legal adults? Or Mari almost.
I, I I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Oh, this
Um,
is not a trap.
yeah, no, no, I'm gonna say
Liar.
no. Yeah, that's an answer my mom's probably happy about. I don't know. I think um, like I know people personally, or at least friends of friends who are getting married. Someone like a friend of my roommates had a kid this year, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, but if I put myself in their shoes, empathy, I you should worry about your kid, man. Like, I don't know. And I think I look back on it and like it doesn't matter that they worried about this for me because it turned out fine. So I'm all right with it, you know?
Yeah, I want to second that. I mean, like, I love my parents. I feel like it's totally valid to freak out a little bit when your kid's going through something that you don't know how to help them with. And I think that's just like a natural part of growing up. So I think they definitely had the right amount of worry and support and also letting me be independent.
Yeah, I think that there's the issue to me is not necessarily the worry, right? Whenever it's perfectly natural to be worried about somebody that you love and care about this much and are raising, going off and being independent and doing all these new things. That's super scary. Um, Something that I feel very lucky about is that my parents always did a very good job of taking that worry and turning it into productive support. Um, I think that it's less about what they could have worried about less or what, yeah, I guess what they should have worried about less. And to me, just more about how they dealt with that worry themselves. And they always did a great job, shout out to my parents, um, of like they're obviously concerned or they're worried, or maybe I'm going through something that they just can't help with. It's out of their control. But they're there for me in the best way that they can and showing up for me. And I think that that was one of the most helpful things that they could have done in high school was just making it clear that they were there for me and like there to support me in whatever way they could.
I think that's really well said, Mari. The worry is like totally valid, and I think what matters is them putting it in a productive direction. I was very lucky that my parents did not do this with me, but it is something I noticed in parents of people that I knew in high school, um, which is I think it's very easy coming from a place like Synapse and having kids who I'm sure are sometimes going to also like prestigious high schools to immediately begin thinking about prestigious colleges and trying to chart where you want your kid to go and trying to enroll them in extracurriculars that will make sure they get in there. And I think that is like the worst mistake anyone makes. High school is the time for it was the time for me to mess up like 10,000 times and let my parents let me run my course, and I finally came to a place where I was stable and figured out a little bit better who I was. And I think if you try and lock your kid in, it's just not helpful for the later college experience.
I'd actually love to jump back onto that really quickly. Um, that was also very, very well said. I saw that happen a lot with people at my high school as well, where, you know, there seemed to be a path set out for them before they had even begun. And the the freedom in high school, it's not complete freedom because, you're still living with somebody and you're still making hopefully good choices. But like in high school, the goal is to try to find yourself at least a little bit. Start finding out who you are. And then when you get to college, that's whenever hopefully you discover yourself more fully. But the important thing about college is not necessarily prestige, but being somewhere where you feel happy and are pursuing the things that you want to pursue. So when that path is so set out, it what I've noticed is it becomes difficult for people to find out who they are or who they really want to be because they feel an obligation or are drawn towards one particular path. And actually one of my closest friends uh, had this experience and ended up at a college that she hates. And it's very prestigious. It's an Ivy, but she hates it. And so she's planning on transferring because it's not where she wants to be and it's not where she feels like she can become the most full version of herself. So I making sure that the kid is the one who's figuring out where they want to go, who they want to be, what they want to do. None of that stuff can be dictated necessarily. That's all a personal choice. And that's ultimately what's going to be the best for them. I mean, I guess I'm still 19, so I don't fully know that. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, that is where people become the happiest, most full versions of themselves that they can be.
Thanks, Mari. That was really well said, even if you're only 19. But no, thank you. Well, speaking of that, like the four of you have gone through, many, some of your many eventual, life milestones, and two, just because we're in this panel stage, college choice, high school choice. But I'm curious, like Mari spoke to a bit about it a little bit, but for all of you, like how was navigating that choice? Because it's a search, and then it's a choice, and it's committing to the choice, right? There's a lot of steps to it, but whatever you'd like to share, I'm curious, how you went about both of those transitions. And I know the high school one might have been like middle school to high school is a while away, but what you can remember from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Mari was mentioning about the importance of letting kids discover what they want for themselves is super important. So, when I was approaching the high school process, I think we did it as a lot of a collaboration between my parents and I. So, they didn't dictate, like, you need to go to a private school, you need to go to school here. It was more about kind of discovering my options and also just getting to know myself a little bit better. Like we toured schools, I was like, oh, like I don't think this kind of program is for me, but I love this aspect. And so when I decided to go to public school, it was kind of for me, I wanted to try something different. I'd gone to private school up until eighth grade. I was like, I want a new experience. I want to try something bigger. And so my parents were fully supportive of that. They're like, sure, like whatever makes you feel like you're going to grow as a person, that's what we want for you. And that process was really, really helpful when approaching the college process later on because I felt like I was already kind of confident in the fact that I could do it. And I felt like I had my parents' support, which was really nice. For me, I knew I wanted to stay in California. So I didn't do, like, I had friends who were doing a college tour every single weekend, like flying across the country. That was just not for me. So I decided to kind of I applied to all the UC schools and then I just knew I wasn't going to tour them until I got in because they're all so close by. And then the few out-of-state schools that I applied to, I did go tour. And I think touring was a really helpful process. Just seeing the campus is way different than reading about it online. So after I got into my colleges, like I was so sure I was going to attend UCLA. And I went to their mid-students day and I was like, oh my God, I could not see myself here at all. And like my dad had said, like, I would love for you to go to UCLA. It's a great school. Like he was really, really pushing it. But when I went there and I didn't like it, like he immediately backed off. He was like, okay, like if you don't feel like it's for you, then let's go look at your other options. So I think that willingness to just go where your kid wants is so helpful because I had friends who, like Mari said, were pressured into going into a more prestigious school over the school that they felt more of a connection to, and they've all transferred. Like I had a friend who came here for engineering and she just didn't feel like it was the right fit. But of course, Berkeley has a very prestigious engineering program. So she went through freshman year and she's like, I can't do it. Like, I hate it here. And she transferred. So the approach that my parents had to just kind of allowing me to discover where I would go best was really, really helpful. Um, and I think also just removing some of that pressure, like prestige is not everything, right? So like going to a top 10 school is great, but you can be just as successful at any school. So I think that was definitely a big aspect for me because while I was aiming for high ranked schools, I knew that like it wasn't going to be the end of the world if I didn't get in. So that was helpful for me in kind of not stressing out, not having my senior year be like a nightmare. So I would just say, like, speaking to the parents, like, everything's going to be okay. Your kid's going to end up where they're supposed to be and they'll do fine. So try not to stress out too much.
Um, wait, I'll say, thank you. Yeah, that was really well said. I think it's true. Like, let your kid figure it out. I don't distinctly remember the high school or college selection experience very well, but I think they're both opportunities for your kid to figure out what kind of place they want to be in and what kind of people they want to be surrounded by. Um, and I think letting them do that, and then also understanding that both application processes are horrible, is really important. Like they're really mentally, they're just horrible. They're so draining, and then everyone gets rejected by everywhere. So part of it is like know where you want, or let your kid figure out where they want, and then understand that you kind of just have to throw your name out there as much as you can. And I should also say, as Dia and Mari both said, like sometimes people don't like it in places, and when that happens, you just transfer. Like I have a lot of friends who have transferred, and it doesn't exactly matter if the first place that you find isn't the one for you. Sometimes you get a wrong impression on that first visit. You can always switch.
Or you might know yourself better, right? After a semester. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything Dee and Frankie said is just so valid. I think the one of the biggest thing if I remember correctly, I was choosing between Harvey Mudd College, Michigan, and Boston University.
Mm.
Um, and I was talking with professors or like friends of family, and everywhere the I get the same thing. It's like, within a certain caliber of school, it's the same education. You know, like some places have signature things, and obviously every school wants to differentiate themselves, but the core stuff, it's the same. Um, and so the biggest thing after that is you have to do as an applicant a lot of critical thinking of, like I guess I don't know myself fully at the moment, but what do I really want? Big, small, where in the world? What kind of other things do they have going on? Like um I ended up narrowing it down to Harvey Mudd and Michigan because at Harvey Mudd I got an offer to play D3 water polo. That was something I was really, really passionate about. And then I went and I toured. This was kind of during the post-COVID era, so it was a little different. There were no official tours, so I just walked around campus and like got in whenever doors were open. But like Dia said, super, super important. I hated it. It was not the place that I wanted. And then I got into Michigan and I was like, oh, I haven't seen it yet, but let me go. Um, like just the student body, the school pride. I know you're a Michigan fan, Stephanie. So um, it just was captivating. So I it immediately made my choice for me. So it's just super, super important to have that. And then another thing is also that I kind of got a little lucky and I had a family friend who's a professor here. And he has been a mentor for me throughout my 4 years. He's also an electrical engineering professor, which makes me even luckier. Um, but having someone that you can go to, even if it's like your freshman year professor that you can, establish a relationship with, that's literally invaluable. Like someone you can always go to or always email and know that they'll respond to you. And that goes to my one thing, go to class. Go to class. Don't watch the lectures. Go to class. That's my one thing. I'm using my platform here. Go to class.
I'll second that one. Definitely go to class.
Yeah, definitely go to class. That's super important. And also because with professors, especially in college and even in high school, like go talk to your teachers, go talk to your professors, make those connections, especially if you end up going to a larger school. Um, NYU is huge, it's giant, and that can be very intimidating. But if you go to office hours or whatever your school or college has, those are an excellent way to make connections. One of my friends, like we're literally in freshman year, and one of my friends had such a great relationship with his professor last year that he was able to essentially have that professor be a mentor for a project that he's working on for this summer, which is really awesome and exciting. And that professor is aiding him with research. So just talk to your professors and go to class. Uh, my personally, my high school, geez, it feels like forever ago. It's only really been 5 years, but my high school application experience was weird because it was over Zoom. It was like smack in the middle of the COVID era. And so really I kind of went into picking my high school blind. But going to events was the most important thing that I could do under any circumstance. Going on tours, there were virtual tours, and honestly, I was so committed. I really wanted to go to Castellea for high school, and I did the virtual tour. I did one of the workshops, and I just thought, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. And then from there, I was able to pivot. On the other hand, I took the Nueva virtual tour and workshop and I loved it. And so it seemed like maybe it would be the right place for me. And I went and I got very lucky and felt like I was in the right place. And then I actually was able to tour guide for Nueva junior and senior year and see while I was there and like try to impart some of the vibes of the school to the students. So I think one of the most important things that you can do is be in it. And that absolutely transfers to college. Um, I didn't tour any colleges that I hated, but I did tour one college that I just completely fell in love with, and that was NYU. So knowing that, knowing that now, I honestly think if I could do if I could do the high school admissions process over again, I would take in-person tours. But, that was kind of a circumstantial thing. If I could do the college admissions process over again, I would probably do even more tours than I did. I think that I got very lucky hitting upon NYU and taking that tour. I remember it was cold and gray and awful and windy and rainy when I took the tour, and I still loved the school, and knew that I wanted to go here. So if you immerse yourself in those environments and you put yourself in the place and see, yeah, can I imagine myself going here? Does this seem like a place where I love the classes? I love the energy. Sometimes just being in the energy of the school, it can feel very right or very, very wrong. So, so put yourself out there, as has been a theme, I think, in this discussion. Put yourself out there. If you are able to, go to the places. If you're not able to, then talk to as many people as you can from the places, and you will get a kind of vibe from them of what the school is like, what kind of student enjoys it there, etc.
Sorry, Stephanie, can I add something real quick? Because
Absolutely.
just like going off of this, I think from the on the parent side of applications and everything, I think the biggest thing, like my parents kind of let me do a lot of this on my own, and I mean, obviously, like yeah, you can get help editing essays, and that's super, super helpful. Um, but going about the college process and having to write everything, do everything fill everything out, that's a lot of time management skills that I really appreciative to have developed, both for, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. Those were really grueling years of college undergrad. It's a lot of work. But also if you end up, later on job applications, it's people, I have friends who are applying to like 200 jobs now, but like that kind of time management to work through that, meet with people. Um, I just finished applying for PhD applications, which is even more, there's no Common App, which is a little annoying. So it's even more work. So, but having that kind of time management skills is like super, super valuable. Um,
Thanks, Priam. Well, you all are speaking very fondly of, your college experiences. So if you're thinking about, all the things you've done so far, I'm curious, what's a one, just one, because it's not like what's your top one, but what's one college highlight that you could share with the group here? And can I go back? What's also a Synapse highlight? So go all the way back there. So what's a college highlight? What's a Synapse highlight?
I can keep it short. Okay, Synapse highlight, the Alaska trip. That was like so, so, so much fun. I remember like Frankie, Gus, and I, and like so many other people were playing all the games that they taught us, and driving to Denali. It was just so cool. Um, college, college game day. Michigan is such a big sports school, and we live, breathe, and die ba football, and now basketball. So just kind of having that environment around has been so fun.
Yeah, as a fellow Michigan alum, I think that's just correct, not just an opinion. So
I can say favorite Synapse memory. Priam and I were on the first ever Synapse basketball team, which was horrible. We were just, no one should have put the ball in our hands. Um, but we almost like won the championship thing the first year that we were official, and I remember we lost the game by very little, and it was the most like distraught anyone was. But like everyone walked out and it was like, wait, that was the first season of this school's basketball team, and it whatever. I am very fond of that memory. And my favorite memory in college. Um, uh, oh, the one that I can think of most is I wrote and edited for a student magazine, and the first time that I went to one of their events, I thought it was the event of another club, and I was so anxious the entire time that I was there. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna find out I'm not part of this. And then I ended up really liking the people, and I joined, and I found most of my closest friends from that. And so, another fond memory.
thanks, Frankie. Yeah, Frankie and Prim, you all were like early on in our like athletics teams and everything. We now, not that it's about trophies, but we now have a trophy case. So that's exciting and some
That's
trophies.
unimaginable from how we were.
I remember those early teams.
Okay. I want to piggyback on the sports one because I think that's also one of my top Synapse memories. When I joined Synapse, there was no girls basketball team. So I think on fifth grade, I played on the boys team. And then by sixth grade, I was like, okay, Bernie, like we need a girls team. Let's do this. So we got like a bunch of girls together. And like Frankie said, our first season was such a disaster. I mean, like we had no idea what we were doing. There was girls who joined and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to wear shorts to school, so I'm quitting the team. And we were like, oh no, we don't have enough people. And so like the first 2 years were definitely a lot of development, but our eighth grade year we went undefeated, which was super awesome. It was definitely like you could just see like the culmination of like all 4 years ending with that season. And then we definitely would have won the championship because we'd already beaten that team, but the game was canceled because it was COVID. So, but it's still I feel like we all had this like huge like moment of like, oh my God, we did it. Like this is our last year and we've just like put all this hard work into it. So that was super awesome. And then favorite college memory, I think I don't have like a singular moment, but I took this really interesting class my first semester called Patriotism and Treason in America. And it was like just like a random like class I took as a requirement, but it ended up being very, very cool. And I met like my two best friends in that class, and the professor was awesome. So just like the like late night like paper writing where we're just like all hanging out and not actually writing our papers, probably one of my favorite memories.
Okay, I'm kind of tied between two Synapse projects that have stuck in my head aggressively. The first is dropping the little Fred Rogers what is like the pop figures off the roof.
Red Bull gives you wings. They still do it.
Yes, Fred Bull gives you wings. They still do that. That's awesome. I very much remember that. The whole grade was so incredibly excited for that project. And then the second is the forts in level three, first year of level three. And I have this very distinct memory. We were Desert Scrub was our environment. I still remember this because uh our teacher had to come in and be a strong wind to make sure that our forts were structurally sound. And unfortunately, Desert Scrub's fort was not structurally sound. So our teacher came in and shook it so hard that like half of our fort collapsed because, of course, we didn't build it well. We were third graders. And it was completely devastating, but also so much fun. The whole four project and being able to transform the classroom was just it's such a core memory for me. And then college. I've only had a very short time here, but I would say one of my favorite memories is there was a night that one of my friends was feeling sick, and so we all gathered in the dorm kitchen because we don't have our own kitchens, at least most of us don't, in first year housing, and decided to make chicken soup. The only problem was that the only real cooking implement that we had was a single pot without knives nor anything else that you need to cook a chicken. So we ended up taking a rotisserie chicken and shredding it with forks. We didn't even have a tray to shred it on, so we laid out napkins on the counter. And if you walked into the kitchen, you would just see this like carnage of a chicken being shredded with forks and us trying to chop carrots with these wimpy plastic forks that we got from the dining hall and tossing it all in a pot to make chicken soup. And afterwards going out to like look and see the lights on the World Trade Center. And it was just the most supremely college experience I think I've had yet.
Thanks, Mari. Thanks all of you. Well, also Fort is now we've renamed it Town, but they also do that still. Still do that project. Well, it's also great that they still do Town. We still have the basketball teams. We still go to Alaska for our eighth grade trip. So it's I don't know, this thinking of all of you, there's so much I think of what you all experience that we still have here in slightly different forms, even though we're changing, but it's still part of Synapse and what you are all thinking of. Well, we're getting close to the end of our time, so I'm going to end on a two-part question for all of you. And one part of the question is, when you think about Synapse now, years later, I'm curious if there's anything you feel grateful for having been through Synapse and graduated and come through this community. And partly and also related is thinking about maybe our current eighth graders who are about to embark and, say goodbye to Synapse at least on their everyday and go into what you all have gone through as high school and into college. What advice would you give them? So that's the two-part question for you as we say goodbye tonight.
Okay, I guess I can go first. I mean, I'm really grateful for my time at Synapse. It was probably the best like 4 years that I've had in school at all. My teachers there were just incredible. The connections I had with my friends were amazing. Like Priam said, like I'm still friends with a lot of the people I met at Synapse. I know that like they're always there for me no matter what. So I think like there's nothing at Synapse that I regret. I'm just happy to have like gotten that experience, and I'm grateful to my parents for sending me there. I guess in terms of advice, I would just say like appreciate it. You've still got a few months, like spend time with your friends, spend time with your teachers, immerse yourself in your classes, and take the skills that you learned with you. Like Synapse will always be a part of you, and try to hold that inside you and remember everything that you accomplished there and what you learned.
Thanks, Dia.
I love when we do that. I can say something that I'm really grateful for is that I think Synapse is really like a space to fail and fail and fail repeatedly. Like you are so often thrown into things outside of your comfort zone. And I remember in middle school being not always happy about that. Um, but I think now, um, with the like minimal reflection I can have on 8 years, I, I feel like every time that I have failed and been comfortable failing throughout high school and throughout college, because it does not stop and you flop always, um, like it has helped me get closer to the things that I actually want to do and to figuring out the person that I want to be after graduation and like really being comfortable with not being good at something is going to be a skill to hold. So I guess that is the advice that I would give to the eighth graders is like so many things are not going to go your way, and that is how it should be. Like acknowledge when that happens, either learn from it or do different, or find something else that you're better at. Like that's what the next part of your life is for, in my opinion.
Thank you, Frankie.
I think that something that I am the most grateful for from Synapse, just the teachers. Your teachers are amazing. They are so knowledgeable and they are so here to support you. And, coming back to visit Synapse, it's something that I've always been really driven by because I want to see my teachers. And the community at Synapse is really something special. And especially the community of like people who are there to facilitate your learning and your growth. And really, they all want the best for you. So that support network and support for growth is something that I am very grateful for from Synapse. Um, as for advice, it's I think that the biggest thing is just try all the things that you can. You know, you, things happen unexpectedly, paths appear unexpectedly that you never even thought you had a chance of going down. But that's what high school is for. And if you know what you want to do with your life, wow, that's incredibly impressive and great. But make sure that you don't restrict yourself. Take the time that you have in high school to discover, if not who you are, then who you might want to be, or a possibility of who you are. And then with that, take your time with that and explore everything that you can because you're going to grow in unimaginable amounts of ways that you can't even think of yet. So just make sure that you take that time for yourself and give yourself that grace to evolve as a human.
Thank you, Mari.
Yeah, when I think of Synapse, I think of two things. I mean, one, Mari touched on it. It's just the people. I came back for an alumni event in January just now, and I hadn't been in a couple of years because haven't been in town, or whatever. And just the warmth that you feel of seeing people that you haven't seen in a while, and they don't feel like teachers. They're like I'm talking to a friend slash, obviously they're older than you, but like a trusted, you know, acquaintance, friend. Yeah, I'd call him a friend. I mean, it's so fun talking to them. I turned 21 and I was like, oh, I'm getting a beer with Eben Lapierre. Like that is what I want to do. Um, so and I will make that happen one day when I get back to the Bay Area. Um, and then another one is just the interdisciplinarity, that's the wrong word, of the school, the projects, the getting to work with people. Um, obviously, engineering is super interdisciplinary. It's all about group projects, and I love that. It's also annoying, but having the experience at such a young age, is super super valuable. As for advice, um. I think it's really important to not fall into social, you know, cliques or like whatever the status quo is. Just be yourself. Don't conform because you feel like that will make your life easier. Um, I think I look back and I think I definitely did that at some point, and I just like regret it, you know. You get to college and it's such a more diverse place. It's a more empathetic place, like Frankie was saying. And just by being myself, I found lifelong friends. Um, and so just don't, veer off of someone that you want to be because someone else doesn't want you to be like that. And then I guess one final thing is just that serendipity is so real. Like, you might think that this is the way you're doing, and then, someone knocks on your door or something happens in your life that you would never expect. So, it's really just kind of fun. It makes life fun, and being open-minded in that way is, I think, the right way to go.
Thank you, all of you. It's been so wonderful hearing from all of you and hearing how you're doing and pulling out all those synapse connections and memories as well. And so I know we're at time tonight, and thanks for everyone who's on this call for joining us and really being in this space with Mari and Dia and Frankie and Priyam. So thank you, and thanks the four of you, and best of luck, whether it's continuing to brave the cold weather of the East Coast and the Midwest, or finishing out the second semester of college, or finishing college, or job search, thesis, all the things, the rest of all the college game days. Best of luck. And of course, I have a feeling we're gonna see you on campus not too long from now, and we hope you continue staying in touch. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone.
Thank you,
Go blue.
Stephanie.
Go blue blue.